The most dangerous love in history. Throughout history, there are some women whose names are not limited to the era they lived in. Their stories cross centuries, and they are still remembered. Anne Boleyn was exactly one of these women. But her story was not just about beauty and intelligence. It was also filled with intrigue, betrayal, and tragedy. Anne Boleyn changed the life of a king. She changed the religion of a nation. And, unknowingly, she paved the way for one of the greatest female rulers in history. But all of this came at a steep price. Anne Boleyn's story was not a fairy tale. It was a game of power, a battle of love, and ultimately, an inescapable tragedy. The most dangerous love in history. Anne Boleyn was born around 1501 in England into a noble family. But her home was no ordinary aristocratic house. The Boleyns were ambitious. Her father, Thomas Boleyn, was not only a nobleman, but a shrewd diplomat. Everything in the family revolved around one goal: to gain power, rise in court, and make the Boleyn name legendary. From a young age, Anne learned to observe. She watched her father's political moves, her mother's diplomacy, and the dynamics of court life. In Anne's mind, she recorded every detail, because in court, a single mistake could be deadly. Anne's character truly began to form when she was sent to France for education at around age 10 to 12. The French court was completely different from England, freer, more intellectual, more artistic. Here, Anne learned fluent French, music, dance, and literature, philosophy, and critical thinking. But the most important lesson was this: being a woman at court was not just about appearance, it was about influence and strategy. In France, women debated, generated ideas, and held power. Anne realized that power could be gained not only through wealth and title, but also through intelligence and strategy. Returning to England, Anne was no longer just a pretty girl. She was dangerously intelligent, charismatic, and strategic. Yet the English court would challenge her like never before, because here, women were expected to be silent and obedient. Anne's education and experience in France became the foundation for her rise. They would help her attract Henry VIII's attention, shape her path to the throne, and ultimately influence the course of English history. Anne Boleyn had returned to England. With the confidence, grace, and cunning she had gained in the French court, she stepped into the English court. But the court was not as elegant as it appeared. Every smile, glance, and word could become a power move. Anne immediately drew attention, but not everyone was pleased. She did not stay silent, expressed her opinions, observed and responded to other schemes. Henry VIII noticed her instantly. At first, there were small glances and conversations, then longer interactions, secret walks in the corridors, and whispered talks. The spark had begun. Anne caught Henry's attention, but she did not aim to be merely a mistress. She understood court politics and was ready to play a strategic game. Henry was powerful and charismatic, but Anne was different. She rejected him. She did not settle for a mere glance. She ensured that the king had to earn her attention. The court whispered, "Henry is obsessed with this woman." Anne's intelligence and confidence made her both fascinating and dangerous. Their love was not just personal, it was political. The king's advisors, rival women at court, the Catholic Church, and the people all were part of this love story. Anne and Henry's relationship deepened. Henry wanted a divorce from Catherine of Aragon, but the Pope refused. Anne became the center of a political and romantic storm that would change the course of English history. Every smile, glance, and word from Anne became a strategic move. She had become more than a mistress. She was a potential queen. But the path ahead was full of danger and betrayal. 1533, England was witnessing an unprecedented period in history. Anne Boleyn was on the verge of becoming queen. But being a queen wasn't just about the crown, it came with immense responsibility and danger. Anne's ascent to power had a profound effect on court life. She was no longer just a beautiful girl, she was now at the pinnacle of influence. But her rise drew enemies. Henry VIII's heir expectations weighed heavily on her. Henry insisted on a male heir. Every move Anne made was scrutinized. Her cleverness and confidence helped her maintain her position. In meetings, she spoke boldly. In the corridors, she walked with authority. Beside the king, she asserted her presence. But danger lurked everywhere. Rival women, loyalists of Queen Catherine, political advisors, all were ready to take her down. Anne was now the center of a historic storm. She influenced the king, she shaped political and religious changes, and she played a careful game of power while maintaining her dignity. Her rise to queenship had begun, but the price was heavy. Every smile and step could be a trap. (1533). The corridors of England's palace witnessed a historic moment. Anne Boleyn was officially queen. But the crown brought responsibility and danger along with power. Anne faced immense pressure to provide a male heir. Henry VIII wanted a son. This responsibility shaped every decision she made. In 1533, Anne gave birth to a daughter, Elizabeth. Henry was disappointed. Court whispers began. Anne has failed. Rival women and advisors plotted against her. Yet Anne persevered. She protected her daughter's future, maintained her influence over Henry, and continued to wield her intelligence and charisma. However, court intrigues escalated. Jane Seymour rose in favor. Henry's attention shifted, and advisors sought to undermine Anne. Every day at court became a game of survival. One wrong move could be deadly, one glance misinterpreted, one whisper turned into a conspiracy. Anne's fall was slowly beginning. The stage was set for history's most dramatic queen's tragedy. (1536). In the cold stone walls of the Tower of London, one of England's most dramatic days unfolded. Anne Boleyn, once the most powerful woman at court, was facing her fate. Anne was charged with adultery, treason, and incest. Most of the charges were fabricated, but political scheming at court had sealed her fate. Her trial was a formality. Evidence was false. Witnesses were intimidated. But the outcome was inevitable. Anne would die. Anne walked to the tower calmly, showing no fear. Pride and dignity shone through. She knew her story would live on. On the day of her execution, the public gathered. They watched with awe and horror. Anne knelt, prayed, and spoke her final words. Within minutes, Anne Boleyn's life ended, but her legacy outlived her. Her daughter, Elizabeth, grew up to become Queen of England. Anne's intelligence, courage, and determination influenced Elizabeth's reign. Elizabeth embodied her mother's spirit and solidified Anne's legacy. Anne Boleyn lived boldly, faced tragedy, and though her life was cut short, her impact was eternal. Anne Boleyn's life was brief, but her legacy endless. History did not forget her, sometimes tragic, sometimes inspiring. This is the story of England's most controversial and influential queen.